Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation. Well, it's Wake Up with KC, and you know how much I love to talk about the arts in many form of arts. And I have a special guest that's joining us today. That in this form of art, it's theater, it's drama, it's acting, and even in film. And during everything that's been going on, he shares some insight in how he has evolved and adjusted and adapted to the chaos with the pandemic, and shares how he was inspired and what sparked his passion in these arts. So please welcome Marc Morales. Marc, welcome.
Hi. Thank
It's
you.
a lovely day
How
where
are you?
you're at.
It is a lovely day. It's
I'm doing
early and it's
awesome.
beautiful. Awesome, good. How's Florida?
Oh, it's been raining here and there. It comes and then it goes and then it comes back and then it goes, and it's constant. This is South Florida, hurricane
It's
season.
Florida.
Hello.
There it is. There you go. Awesome.
Marc, I was inspired by your story, and with us talking and how you got involved in the arts, and with theater, drama, even in acting and filming. The whole world changed in this pandemic. And when did you discover your passion in this form of art, and then how did you adjust even during this pandemic?
So one, how did I start? How did I find my passion? It just when I was a kid, when I was little, when I was a child, yes. I liked music first. And when I actually thought about it, yeah, I did. I really enjoyed music, so I loved singing. And my parents would have like just all these, great, I'm going to call them old records now, but, like The Fifth Dimension and, the Rolling Stones before, when they were still like in their 30s. When they were singing like Jumping Jack Flash and things like that. So they had all these great albums. And so I'd sit there and take them all, like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Then I'd just take them all in my room. They'd be like, where did our albums go? And I'm like, oh, I have them. So I would just sit there and just start singing those, and that's how I got into it. And then all of a sudden, like, my dad introduced me to, was it West Side Story? It was on TV one day, and he was like, you need to watch this. And I'm like, oh, they sing and they act. What a great combination. I didn't know that could happen. Then, from there, I'm like, then my dad's like, there are other, it's called a musical. So it's like, okay. So then I opened up that, and I'm like, oh, let's look, what other musicals are there? And back, when I was growing up, in New York, musicals were like it, and they still are, a huge thing. Theater's a big thing, Broadway, the whole 9 yards. So they would have commercials on TV. So like for Annie, you would get like an Annie commercial, or a Vita, you would see commercials for Vita or Pippin or things like that. So I was being exposed that way too. So I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I guess it all started from there. It just started to snowball. It was music, then it was singing, and then into acting, and then you figure, well, they dance too, so you got to become this triple threat. So you start, dabbling in a little bit of everything and putting it all together. And then for me, it was just, I guess, the final, the final product was, I went through all of this and I want to write. I'd rather write and direct than act or this or that. But it was all of that that led me to decide that I wanted to be a writer and a director. Yeah, so I had all that background first. It's like, let's try this, and I was digging it all. I was digging the acting, I was digging the singing, but the passion, it just felt what was with the writing. That's what I wanted to do more. Some people were like getting ready to go on tours. It's like, oh, I have to go on an audition. I got to get my next gig, and I was like, I'm not gonna go on an audition today. I'm gonna sit home and write this idea in my head. So I really just started choosing. It's like, I can go on an audition, get some money, and eat. Or I'm going to sit at home and, work on this idea in my head and not eat. So I became the writer. I don't know if
Wow.
I answered one of your questions. I don't know. What was your second question? I'm so sorry.
Well, then, all right.
Oh, it was COVID. That's what you were asking. Um,
Yes, the COVID.
so, just writing I think it's a solitary thing anyway. I know that a lot of people like to go out and write in, like, at Starbucks or a bar. I remember when I was bartending, there used to be this person. She would come in all the time for like a couple of months and just sit at like this side bar table and take out her book and just start writing. And other people are like, why does she come in? I'm like, why is she in here? Honestly, I said, because she's probably researching every one of us and she's writing down everything we're saying. You know, so, some people do it that way. But for me, it's like I'd rather be in my house and locked up and, writing that way. So when COVID came, it was like, oh, this really sucks. But, as a writer, it was like, nothing's really changed. I'm still stuck inside. I mean, the only downside was we were supposed to go do a movie, and we ended up getting sidetracked by COVID. So, which was a good thing because I knew nothing about making film. I have no idea, and because of the COVID, here you go. This is how we evolved. How I evolved. I had time to research. How to make a movie. What would I need? This and that. And I spoke to people, and I made some connections over the phone, and then I wrote something else really small, and I got a small crew together at the house, and we shot that. And all of a sudden, it's like I had no knowledge of film, but now I have some knowledge. So now that we're going to go shoot the movie in January now, at least I feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more confident. So I guess thank you, COVID, for that extra year to work on myself and my skill. So
Well,
yeah,
would
I
you
don't know.
agree, Mark, that, I believe that COVID was an opportunity for us to, you know, pause, slow down, rethink things, reevaluate, where your life is and what it is that you want to do in your future.
Uh,
And it was like a timeout kind of opportunity,
That's exactly what
for
it is.
everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit there. I mean, a lot of people, it sucked, but a lot of people just all they did the entire time was complain. Oh my God, this and that. And I don't have children, but I'm gonna rant this out anyway because it just pissed me off so much. I understand that the kids who were graduating at the time couldn't go have a prom, but don't harp on it for the kid. Don't sit there going, yeah, we had a prom and now my poor kid can't have a prom and blah, blah. Just, do something else. Help that kid out. Just, don't keep adding the weight of, yeah, it's terrible. It really sucks. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, just look, there's always good. There's always good in something. I don't know. That's the way I feel. Maybe I'm naive, but I just, yes, there's negativity, but, yeah, like you said, there's going to be something positive about it too. You can sit there and just bitch and moan like this is terrible, this is I can't go outside. Da, 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 da. I went outside, I walked around the neighborhood. Yeah, I went for runs and stuff like that. Yeah, like you said, it was a great moment to really be with yourself or your significant other and find out, who you
Uh,
guys are. You weren't running, you were stuck with each other. So that was it. Yeah.
well, I noticed, because living in Florida when we were in a shutdown, I saw bike sales go up. I've never seen so many people on bicycles or
Mm-hmm.
fishing as much as I did during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I feel like it was an opportunity to reconnect with family, immediate family, because we get so busy and so programmed running around like robots
Yep.
that we forget about quality time with our kids.
You had time to smell the roses.
Because you're
You
always
had.
busy. I mean, I'm a mom, and I've noticed some other parents that, it's, soccer practice, football practice, dance, and all
Right.
this. They're always busy, but never taking the time to take a break from all of that and just enjoy the present moment with your kids. It could be going on a bicycle, going fishing, you know, camping right outside your front yard,
Yeah.
looking at the stars, and, just enjoy that little sigh, and
Absolutely.
I was just like, wow, you know, and like all the negativity and complaining. And I'm like, we're just, like attracts like, negative attracts negative.
Hmm. It takes a lot of energy. Someone once told me it's like it takes a lot of energy to be negative and to be angry. It's like, it's work. And I'm like, really? And then I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, it is true. Because when I get mad, sometimes I keep myself going for no apparent reason. I'm like, and that takes a lot. I could be doing other things with my time than being angry.
I know it does take more, and then you're
Yeah.
just, it's like, I mean, I limit myself on my news because there's
Right.
so much negative energy.
Mhm.
And that to me is like, that's a cancer
Right.
that you're spreading with negativity.
But then there are people who have nothing going on. They're not doing anything with their lives. And what are they doing? They're feeding off of all that negativity. And then they're going out and then they're like spouting off what they heard on this news show from this person. And now they're spreading negativity because they have nothing going on. Find a life. Find something that you love to do. And stop worrying about some other people's bullshit. Pardon my French. But,
No, be honest.
That's
I
really
love real talk.
Just find something. There's something. Just do it. Because if not, you're just going to be in other people's shit and you're going to just, yeah. I'm so sorry.
No.
That's it
I
for
love
me.
this kind of conversation. But that's
Yeah.
where I love the arts, because you can find joy, and it brings out good, positive vibes. Yeah, there might be a little drama, but that's called plots.
Right.
There's majority of any kind of musical, any kind of movie, even, with music, there's always a, majority of the time, a happy ending. Yeah,
Right.
you go through ups and downs. That's just like in life.
Right.
But we like to expect or anticipate, a good result or a happy ending or something. I think that
Right.
gives us a spark of hope.
Yeah, it's
Would you
like,
agree?
it's a carnival ride. Everyone likes a great roller coaster. For that reason, it's going to take you up, it's going to take you down, it's going to make you crazy, but at the end, it's like, it's all good. Let's do it
Yeah,
again.
and then it's like, okay, let's get off and go on the other one.
Right. I think it's the movie The Parenthood with Steve Martin, and that's what they talk about. They're comparing life with the kids to a roller coaster, and I think at one point, all hell's breaking loose, and Steve Martin's like, he just takes a minute and he hears the roller coaster, and he just starts to smile. And he's like, I get it now. This is all good. All hell's breaking loose, but it's the family, and I'm in a good place. And yeah, I could be mad, but no, I'm just gonna. This is what it's about. Yeah. Oh, Mary Steenburgen's in it too. You got to give her credit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Diane Weiss is in it too.
Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton. It's Diane Weiss or Diane Keaton?
Diane Keaton. She's one of my favorites.
Which one's Diane? Wait, Diane Keaton's the blonde.
She's the mom. She played the mom, the wife, with Steve Martin.
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
I'm gonna Google.
You gotta get the phone out.
I
Oh,
can't.
that's so funny.
I'd have to. So wait. Okay. So
Because
we're
she
looking
always
for
wears these particular glasses that I love, and I just so
Parenthood cast. Hold on. Okay. So. Oh, was it a TV show too? Oh yeah, it was a TV show too. But hold on. Okay, here you go. Wow, Keanu Reeves was in this too. Wow, Martha Plimpton, Diane Weiss, Mary Steenburgen. There's no Diane Keaton.
Are you sure?
I'm almost
Steve
positive.
Martin?
I think Steve Martin was. Yeah. No, he's here. But Diane Weiss.
Let me see. Hold up. Now I gotta find it myself now. Maybe
think
she's
Mary's-
played in the other movie that I'm thinking of.
Diane Keaton's the blonde. Diane Keaton was in Young Frankenstein. I think Diane Keaton played Phoebe's mom, wasn't it?
Hold
Images of
up. I
Diane
know
Keaton.
she played in.
Oh, Diane Keaton is she was one of the First Wives Club.
She played in the First Wives Club, but then she also played in.
Oh, she's Diane Keaton. She's Annie Hall. And The Godfather.
Oh, what? Oh my God. I could see her in the movie. And it's comical with a little bit drama. Oh my God. And there's kids involved. I could have sworn it was her and Steve Martin in it.
Oh, you're right. She's in oh, it's not The Parenthood. She's in that one with all the kids, and there are two of them. I
Oh my
forgot what it's
God, I wish I
called.
could remember.
I think
I
she's
see it in my
right.
mind's eye, and I'm like, yeah, that was funny.
Hold
She was
on.
funny.
Diane Keaton, Steve Martin movie. And it's called Father of the Bride.
Father of the Bride.
Isn't she in Father of the Bride? Yes. Yes.
That
There you
was
go.
with Steve Martin, wasn't it not?
Yes. There's Steve
That's
Martin.
the movie I was
That's the
talking
one.
about.
There
Not
you go.
Parenthood, but Father of the Bride.
Yep. There it is.
So I had the movies mixed up.
You
but
had
I
them
knew
mixed
she
up,
was
but it's
gonna
okay.
do
There you go.
Because I loved her with her glasses.
Diane Keaton. That's right. Oh, I just unplugged. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I lost you for a second. I unplugged. Okay.
There you go. So yeah, it's just been, and then, film production stopped, and everybody was streaming. Now that's the newest thing. It's streaming.
Right.
Even with movies, you don't have to go to a movie theater. You can,
Nope.
everything is changing and evolving so quickly that if you're not ready for that change, you're pretty much screwing yourself right
Like
now.
Ferris said, life moves pretty fast. You're gonna get left behind. You know.
And I'm
It's
always
true.
looking at the technology because I have to update my skills, especially with editing, production myself, between audio and video. So it's like you got to keep up with the technology. If you don't, you're going to become extinct, and then you're going to be it's going to cost you financially. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's the same thing with writing. You become a dinosaur if you don't just keep up. And I find myself when for it's our film coming that we're going to be doing in January, 521 North Main Street. Just on the title alone, I was calling my nephews and my nieces and my cousin and asking her kids because they were like 12 years old, 11 years old. What name sounds better to you? What would you go see without knowing what it's about? And I have to go through these, and they were like asking their friends, and they were coming back to me, going, okay, Uncle Mark, this, and then, and I'm like, okay. And one day I just looked, and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm calling like teens to find out what I should write, how I should write, what I could say, or what's some cool slang that they use, or things like that. So yeah, because if I don't, no one's gonna get it. Because my core audience right now, they're like 13-year-olds. I'm writing a horror movie. It's got to be for 13-year-olds. I'm 50. I know, when I was growing up, back in the 70s and the 80s, Friday the 13th was a big thing. Nightmare on Elm Street, all those great movies were coming out.
Halloween.
Halloween, absolutely. And I'm thinking, how old was I? And I'm like,
Amityville
Halloween, I was like 8
Horror.
years,
I mean, oh my
I was
God.
like 8 years old when Halloween came out, and then Friday, I was like 10, this, that. So I'm like, that's it. I got to find that core audience and find out, what they're into and what they're talking about and what they sound like. So, or else I'll become a dinosaur and won't make any money, and that'll be it for writing.
Well, let me ask you something. Since you talk about horror stuff, because I'm all about energy, and you talk about negative energy and whatnot, but do you think there is a connection with the negative energy with horror movies?
I don't. I'm not. Then I don't. Then I think I'm stuck with saying, "Oh, rock music causes this." I'm gonna sound like those people from the 1980s.
But it's what you're
have this.
that.
I think there's certain there's certain horror. Horror is big. To say horror, there's so many genres of horror.
Right.
I lean more towards, your serial like Jason and stuff like that, and supernatural stuff like the Amityville Horror. I like things like that. I'm not into Rob Zombie type of horror film, things like that.
Can you keep it down?
And yeah, and who else? Who else does stuff like that? It's like
Stephen King, for crying out loud.
No, Stephen King's wonderful. That's just great. But as far as I don't like violent stuff like Hostel. I won't go see Hostel. I don't want to see people being tortured or that. And maybe I guess I could say stuff that's that violent. Maybe that can, if you're already like borderlining kind of crazy and you see stuff like that, maybe that could put you over the top. Possibly. But but in general, I don't think that horror films are going to add to that insanity. I think you can turn on the television and watch the news or, watch some of these idiots, politicians that are out there, and that'll fuel your insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, right there.
But wait.
Someone saying, you should go here
how
and
many
storm
times
this,
Friday the 13th has been like relived, and even Halloween, been relived. I'm like, they you got him at the end of the movie, but then you got to resurrect him. How many times? I mean, come on, let that shit fucking die for once. Stop reliving it.
You know what it is? It's cool to. I like to relive it. I just think you got to come up with a better idea. That's it. You're having all these opportunities. Just stop rehashing the same thing. Come up with something new. But what's great that you brought up Friday the 13th is two people own kind of that property. Somebody owns Friday the 13th, the name, and then somebody else owns Jason. That's why you have movies that are like Friday the 13th, and you have some that are just called like Jason X and stuff like that, because there's two different companies making Friday the 13th Jason movies. So yeah,
Wow.
There you go. Useless piece of information. So there you go.
The one thing I thought was horror was Jaws when I first saw that.
Jaws is horror. Jaws is perfectly horror.
But it made a big, huge blockbuster.
That is incredible.
The shark
Yes.
was broken majority of the movie. They went way over budget. But the one thing was the music that made it a big hit.
Yeah, and it was, you're left to your imagination. That was it too. Once your imagination goes, you can come up with some insane shit. Anyone can. That's why people are afraid of the dark, because your imagination just takes over and it just starts to run. And yeah, and mine can come up with some really great stuff that even at 50, I'll sit there and go, I'm scared. I'm a little bit nervous right now. Sometimes I'll write things late at night and then I'll stop and go, it's time for bed. And I'm like, oh, I think I should wait an hour or two because I'm pretty shook right now, Yeah.
How do you, I couldn't do it. I know, I just, I rather, a little action, a little drama, but then positive. Like, because we all experience traumas in our life. It's just what we do to overcome that trauma and not have that victim mentality. And it's just an experience that we have in life to learn from. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, everything is a learning experience, no matter how good or how bad. It's all a learning experience. It's like some people are like, oh, I regret this, I regret that. And that's cool, you can regret. Someone once asked me what I regret. I'm like, honestly, I don't think I regret anything yet, or wanted to change anything because, like I said, no matter how bad or good it was that learning experience.
And where you were at in the phase and the season in your life.
Right.
We all go through seasons. We all go through transitions and even, transformation. But I also talk about, the limited beliefs, the mental programming, even the emotional energetic traumas. We stay stuck. Mm-hmm. And while everything else is evolving and changing, you stay stuck because reality is created by your beliefs and your perception.
I believe that 100%. Yeah, you don't know what you can do. You don't know. They always say, like, when you go on a race, like someone drives a race car, it's like, push the race car. You don't know what it can do. Let's open it up. That's the same thing with you. I think, in a way we can call ourselves, we're like machines. So we don't know what we could really do. And that's why, it's good to have other people around you sometimes, because they'll push you. But if you just leave it up to yourself, you're just going to, always have those barriers up. It's like, well, I don't like doing this, or I don't think I could do that because I tried it once and it didn't work. Like it's really good because, with my girlfriend, Jen, she'll like, oh, I don't like that movie. I saw it, I didn't like it. I'm like, well, my question is, when did you see that movie? And you're like, oh, 5 years ago. I'm like, well, what was going on in your life 5 years ago? What was going on in the day when you sat down and watched that movie? And then, you sit down, you watch it again. It's like, oh, it's a whole different movie. It's like, yeah, because you were focused on it now. I don't know if that made any sense. But
No,
yeah,
it does make sense.
Sometimes you're just not in the right space and, things seem shitty. But I don't know.
There's some movies that I'll continue to watch, and they're more comical. They make
Right.
me laugh.
Right.
And laughter to me is the greatest medicine and a healing element that we all like. That's what I use. Like, if I had a bad day, to change that, I go and watch something. Carol Burnett with Tim Conway. I'll go watch a video clip. My favorite one that makes me still laugh, like even thinking about it, I want to laugh, was when he was the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most funniest thing. I'll go watch it every now and then. I'll pull it up just so I can get a good laugh. And then I'm starting to cry and tear, laughing every time I watch it.
It's like a
And then
friend
it's
too. It's
like,
comforting.
oh, I
It's
got a
just
dental
comforting.
appointment tomorrow. Huh. Maybe I should watch this again so it doesn't,
Absolutely. It is. It's like comfort food. Sometimes, I'll let The Office run. I've seen The Office how many times I can't even tell you, but I'll let it run in the background because it's just comforting. It's like a friend there, and I'll just work. Or what's my big thing now? I've been watching The Stuff over and over again from the 1980s. It's a great movie. It's a Larry Cohen film, but I just keep watching. It's a horror movie, but I'll watch it over. It's about yogurt that kills people. And it's ridiculous, but who's it? Michael Moriarty's, and it's a great actor. And I just keep watching him over, just to hear his voice. So I'm sitting there doing work, but he kills me. He kills him. I'm like, it's just so wonderful to just listen to him over and over again. His little dumb lines that he throws in here and there. I'm like, it's just great. Right now it's my newest thing. Before I was watching, what was I watching for a long time, over and over again? Troll 2. No, not Troll 2. It was The Ghoulies 2. I was just into that. That was always playing, but now it's The Stuff. So yeah, it's because it's very comforting. It's like, okay, just leave it on, and it's haha, that's a funny thing to say. It's like almost like being at a party, and you're not talking, but you're listening to everyone else's conversation, and like you're getting bits and pieces. It just feels good. It's like you're in the womb. No one's gonna, it's safe here. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something else, Mark. Now, being intuitive, and even like back in the 80s, when like Star Wars first came out,
Mm-hmm.
mini sci-fi, and then E.T. and there are certain other movies that came out, but there were also like, it happened then, but then now you see it manifest and it comes to actually real life. Like, you're seeing, like, wait a minute, I saw that, but it was in a movie, and it's now, coming to like actual real life. Instead of seeing it in a movie theater, you're actually seeing it in day-to-day life
Right.
in some of the movies. And to me, it's like almost like a prophetic, like you're getting a prophetic sign. And these writers that create the story in the manuscript had the idea up in here, and then it's like 10, 20 years later, it's actually become like a life form of it's like
Right.
amazing to me how I see and recognize those things. And would you say there's some truth in that?
Absolutely. I think everything comes from somewhere. Everything's based on some sort of reality. Then we take it and then we skew it a little bit. So it's like, all right, we'll take politics and let's make a movie about politics, about this person hates this, these people hate these people and they're gonna fight and this and that, and what are we gonna do that's different? We're gonna throw it in space. So we'll call it Star Wars, But when you break it on down, it's your basic, good against evil, politicians against politics. You got the rebels and the empire. It's just politics, you know. So yeah, there's always, like, I feel it's always based in some sort of reality, and then it's like, you got to change it up a little bit to confuse the people, so they'll watch it. You know, I always say it's like, you know, taking something that's like taking a piece of broccoli. No one wants to eat it, but I'm like, but if you disguise it as chocolate cake, someone's gonna eat it because everyone loves chocolate cake. So you know, you just take what you know, disguise it a little bit, and just reserve it to the people, and they're just like, "Oh, this is amazing! There's a shark in it." Yeah, but if you break it down, what's Jaws really about? It's, you know, things that we all go through. It's fear and this and that. It's just my opinion. I don't know.
No, that's thank you for sharing. And
Yeah.
then, now what do you see, you know, in your goals and in your future of upcoming projects?
Well, this, like I said, this is our first movie. I never made a movie before, so my goal is just to to get this one out first. Hopefully, everything syncs up. You know, when people move their mouths, there's sound coming out. That's my main goal for this one. Then after that, if we're fortunate enough to make another one, I guess I'd want to make at least 2 or 3 more films. Then I'd be kind of cool with everything.
Is it
But
going to be a short film or a feature film?
our film that we're making, 521 North Main Street, it's a feature horror film. Yeah, it's big. It's based on the Clown Motel, which is a real place in Tonopah, Nevada, and but we didn't call ours the Clown Motel because if you go on Amazon Prime, there are probably like 5 or 6 movies called the Clown Motel, which all take place at the Clown Motel in Tonopah, Nevada. So we took the address of the place. But yeah, it's a full feature, and we're shooting it. We're not even going to go to Nevada anymore because our project is a little bit too big, special effects wise, and we would have made a mess. And we need just a little bit more space, so we're building the motel on a set in San Antonio.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go there, shoot the exterior, and then we're just gonna come here and kind of make our own inside of it. Because if you go online, you'll see that everything at the Clown Motel, it's all outdoors. There's no, you know, besides the lobby, there are no hallways or anything like that. So our special effects guy was like, he was drawing pictures. He was like, we could do this, and he was selling me on it. And finally, I was just like, I'm sold. I'm sold. He's like, we can do so many things, Mark. He's like, hallways are great. He goes, they're always scary. He goes, and then things can come out of walls. And I'm like, okay. And then another thing was, you had to control the environment. He's like, we would go there. He's like, if we went there, he goes, Mark, he's like, let's break down some of these effects. He's like this effect right here is like $5,000. It would cost to do this one effect. He's like, so if we're over there, he goes, we can't control the environment. He's like, what if someone messes up that shot? He's like, that's $5,000 out the window. He goes, you have $5,000? I go, I don't have $5,000 to blow like that. And I'm like, you're making a great point. So, we're taking it here, and we're going to try to control it as much as we can.
Well,
And it's
that's
also good for COVID, too, because we control our environment. We have our own studio. So
right.
we control who comes in and who goes out. We're kind of creating our own little bubble, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. And you said you started writing this one, and what was the inspiration for this to lead to a movie?
This one I started writing about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more. And I only wrote it, I started off in theater. I ran a theater company called Edge of Insanity back in New York. And we worked under Horse Trade Theater Group, which is on East 4th Street in downtown Manhattan. And it's run by Era Ziv. It's an amazing person. And we were a resident company. So basically what we did was we worked things out in trade. So we'd get stage time, and in return we would help build things, and we would work the box office, or we would work in the office and help with the typing, and help maintain the theater. So I wrote play after play after play, and I got published, which that was pretty fortunate. But I love film, and I never wrote a movie. So I had moved to California, and I moved back to New York, and then we were thinking about coming to Texas. So we decided to move to New Jersey to save some money, and then come out to to Texas. And that's where, I was sitting home. I had all this free time back then. And I'm like, I wonder if I could write a movie. So I'm like, okay, let's try. And I'm like, well, what am I going to write about? And I'm like, what do I like? I'm like, I love horror movies. So I'm like, all right, let's write something about horror. And that's when I sat, I'm like, I need a place to write about. Then I started doing all this research about where to write about. And then I came across the Clown Motel, like all these reviews of motels. And I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cool and creepy. And just to see if I could do it, I just started writing it. And then I rewrote it. And then it took on its own life. And then we moved to Texas. And honestly, my girlfriend went to work. She works at a real estate company. She came home, and the owner of the company knows that I write. But she came home. She was like, "Bill wants to know, do you write movies?" And she's like, and I told him you have that one screenplay. And honestly, it was right from there that it all exploded. I showed him the screenplay. I put together a reading. I gathered some actors together, and we read it for him. And he was like, "I like this." And he had never made a movie before. But, he was willing to take that chance. He thought it was fun. He looked at it as his side project. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Someone's giving you an opportunity. Let's see how far we can take it. And here he is.
So was there intuition in this? Because to me, it's like you set yourself up for divine timing, for the synchronicities to come to you to get you to that next step of what you created. If you wanted to do movies, you wanted to write your own movie, and it was just one, you thought, you felt, and then you took a little action, you started writing.
Yeah.
Granted, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not
Right.
like going through a McDonald's drive-through and bam, there you go.
Right.
But you stayed persistent, focused. Whenever you could, you started writing, and then it just led to one thing to another, and voila! Now you're actually starting that next phase to
Right.
where you get the end result because you saw the vision, you used your imagination, your thought process, creating the energy to go with it. It was like it's already done. Now you're going to step A to get to step Z to get that manifest physical result. Would you agree?
Right, exactly. It's like a relationship. You start dating someone, and it's like, oh, 1 week goes by. Oh, we're still together. 2 weeks go by. 3 weeks, 5 months, 6 months. Like, well, maybe we should move in together. Take the next step, and then all of a sudden, like, maybe we should get married. Take the next step, and then have a family. Take the next step. So it's the same thing. And I look at it as writing. You get this impulse. It's like, oh, something's telling. It's like the way I say it, it's like someone's tapping me on the shoulder. It's like, hey, I got this idea. Because it's yourself, and then all of a sudden, like, I try to ignore that idea. Then the next day, it's like the tapping's getting harder. It's like, hey, this idea, and then finally I put pen to paper and go, oh, let's see. And I start writing it out, and then the next day I'll write a little bit more, and next thing you know, it's like maybe 4 or 5 months down the line, it's like, okay, I'm still writing the same thing. I guess I really like this, and let's stick with this. And then there are other things you start writing, and after a month, everything just dries up, and it's like, okay, I guess that relationship didn't work. Put it away. But this one is working, so I'm going to stick with this. It's kind of like you hear voices. It's like, keep writing, write this, and they should say this, and this character should do this. Keep writing. And that's how it works, for me. And that sounds kind of insane, but yeah.
Wow. So it's just like, and that's how you evolved and transformed your life. And even though there is other elements or little, I want to say like milestones because of music, then you got into musicals, and
Right.
but deep down it was film, but those little things were stepping stones for you, learning experiences to learn all aspects to get you prepared and ready for what you're about to, your next endeavor.
Right.
And it's all part of the pieces to the puzzle, to the
Right.
masterpiece of your life.
Absolutely. They're all elements. They're all they're pixels in a huge screen. They all fit together, and they create this wonderful picture in the end. Yeah, that's exactly it. And they're still relevant. Music when I write, sometimes I'll listen to music for hours and hours and hours. And when I wrote the little web series that we were working on during COVID, it's called "It's Crazy Out There." All I listened to was Prince, New Power Generation, and Duran Duran and Arcadia, which is basically Duran Duran's next step was their next band was Arcadia. But that's all I was listening to day after day after day after day after day after day, and that's what fueled me. And so I'd write scenes, and I'd be like, "Ooh, sexy motherfucker," and then that's what I was all influenced by. And
Well,
all my
you know what,
beats and my rhythms, I'm like, it's all Prince. It's all Prince. That's yeah. So
Wow, I've been listening to Feeling Good on Michael Bublé all day long
nice. Yeah. See it.
because it creates that it's connecting in every music note because we have chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Each chakra has a note. So when you're listening to music, certain music, it resonates with your chakras to keep your chakras going and moving. And sometimes certain music does have an effect on your chakras.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I'd rather have that feel good listening to the music to where it gets my chakras motivated, pumping, moving, circulating, and then it helps my whole energy.
Absolutely. It's hitting the right
And
buttons.
I'm all
Yeah.
about that.
Right on, man. It's hitting the right buttons. It's like, ooh, this feels good. That feels great. Awesome. Yeah.
And then every now and then you gotta listen to "Let's Get It On" from Marvin
Let's get it
Gaye, and
on to
that gets
Marvin
you in the
Gaye.
mood too.
There you go. Absolutely.
Or
There you go.
"Freaky with You" from Silk. I love that song,
What does my
especially
girlfriend
if I'm,
like?
want to get my little freak on. I just listen to that music because
Yeah.
that's what I resonate with.
Yeah. My girlfriend likes, what's her big thing? It's like, what was that? Freaks of the Industry by the Digital Underground. With the Freaks of the Industry. I didn't even know that song existed, and she was
Neither
like,
did
oh my
I.
God.
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Oh God, yeah, it's so better than the Humpty Dance. It's like, ooh, yeah. So yeah, Google and not Google. Yeah, go to iTunes and get "Freaks of the Industry" by Digital Underground.
And there's,
Freaks of
oh
the
my God,
Industry.
there's another one. Uh, oh my God, what is it? Oh my God, I can't even think of their name. I see their faces. And it's one of my favorite bands. Oh my God, I have to look them up. Oh wait, Nickelback, Sex.
Oh my God,
When I
it
want to
is
get a little
so.
like, yes, let's go now. Like me be the goddess and I want control. That's the song I listen to.
I would be frightened. I'd be frightened of that. Come here. No, I'm good. Thank
You
you.
gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to Nickelback
It's
Sex.
so funny because you're like Nickelback. I have a Nickelback story. It's true.
Oh my God, really?
Okay, here it is. I was working. I was in California. I was managing a restaurant on Sunset, and obviously all the beautiful people would sometimes have parties there. So there was a birthday party. I forgot who it was for, but some celebrity. And anyway, so Nickelback was there. Now, we I was bartending, so we had a bar set up outside on the patio, and there was a bar inside. But the bar on the patio didn't have, everything. They wanted people to go into the inside bar. So we just had a few items. So I'm standing out there at this bar, and there are these two guys with these two girls. And obviously they were some sort of celeb. And they're like, yeah, I'll take this drink. And I'm like, oh, you know what? You got to go inside for that. And they looked at me. And then they looked at each other, and they looked at me again. It's like, you can't do that for us? And I'm like, no, it's right there. You can go in and get it yourself, And they looked at me, they shook their hand, and they walked away. And somebody came over, they're like, dude, that was Nickelback. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not impressed. I'm so sorry. But yeah, they got kind of mad. But John Lovitz was there, and I was very impressed. And there was somebody there from Grease 2 that I was so impressed of also. So it's the little things.
Wow.
But Nickelback was like, but just that at that time, their whole
Well, if
sitting
you
back,
didn't
like the
know,
rock
you
star
would
persona.
not know how to some of them don't like to be in like too crowded with the public, but they want to be treated like a human being. And
Oh, they were looking for some rock star royalty treatment. I'm like, nah. Michael
oh,
Madsen came in
really?
once. Yeah, Michael Madsen came in once, and that was just like surreal. You know, Michael Madsen, he's Reservoir Dogs. He's the one who cuts off the cop's ear. He came in once, and he looked like something off a Quentin Tarantino film. I'm like, do you wear your own clothing on set? And he was awesome. He just sat there and with his little posse of people waiting for traffic to clear, and drank shots of tequila. I'm like, wow, like that is amazing. You know, yeah.
Wow.
He's just super cool. Kill Bill, everything. I'm like, you're just great. Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like his persona on screen is the same off screen. I was like,
Are you
he
serious?
was so cool. I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. He was like, we're just gonna say, is it okay if we sit out here and just wait for the traffic to clear and have some drinks? I'm like, you can sit anywhere you want, anywhere, man. He's like, thanks, and they just sat. It was just great. It made you all warm and fuzzy. It's like it's Michael Madsen out there. Ooh. It was like this warm fire roaring, and you were just in the vicinity of it, and you felt good. Yeah.
Wow. And some celebrities do bring out good vibes. They're just, you know, they're human beings. The
human
only
beings,
difference,
exactly,
they're
yeah,
talented, they're gifted. They busted their asses to get to where they are, and they're just making a bigger paycheck than we are.
Exactly.
We could do the same thing if that's where our passion and everything is, but I don't think they're like, you know, I put them on a pedestal or I worship and idol them. I just like, wow, that's cool. I'm glad you're doing what you love to do, you know, and
Exactly.
you're an inspiration. Thank you.
There you go. Exactly it.
That's how I look at all celebrities, really. It's like, wow, it's nice to meet you. I'm honored that I had this opportunity and to be in this presence with you, you know, and just have a normal adult conversation, an intellectual conversation. I try to
Yeah.
pick their brains if I meet them. Like, what do you think about this? And just, I think a lot of them would enjoy that. Would you agree that they just want to be like treated as normal as possible, not somebody like, oh my God, you know, it sort of freaks them out, don't you think?
Yeah, I think anyone would want. Yeah, treat anyone normally. Yeah, absolutely. Just because they're characters on screen and everything else. So you going up to someone going, "Oh my God, in that movie," and it's like, sometimes you even forget you did that movie, and you're focused on something else now. But yeah, it's hard. Like I've gushed. I'm a gusher when it comes to certain people. I met Robert Duvall once, and
He's like, oh my God.
Words wouldn't come out of my mouth. That's all I got. And he looked at me and he was like, calm down.
That's
And
him.
and I said, I love you. And he was like, thank you. And I'm like, that was ridiculous. That was so stupid. And yeah, like here.
I love Robert Duvall. He's
Apocalypse
like
Now,
a
The
legend.
Godfather,
Lonesome Dove.
everything.
And
the
Days of
colors.
Thunder. And yes, he plays the best cowboy. I swear. He's just a natural cowboy to me.
I forgot he was in Days of Thunder. You're so funny.
Let me tell you something. There's certain celebrities that I remember because there's something about him playing that character that just felt so real, and they played it so well. It just Lonesome Dove was just ooh, with him and it was Robert Duvall. I think Tommy Lee Jones played it, and there was somebody else that played in that part. And yeah, I cried a few times.
See, I never saw this. I gotta watch this now.
Oh, it's a series. It's a long series. My dad turned me on to that.
Oh, okay.
And it's an old like Western cowboys, and you gotta watch it. There's some parts that you'll be like, got me into tears a few times.
So you like cowboys and Marvin Gaye?
Oh
Gotcha.
yeah,
Right on. Very cool.
and I like my Michael Jackson too.
See, I don't know if Michael did it. I don't know, but actually, honestly, for me, it's just like I don't know what he did. I didn't watch the documentary or anything like that. But
Well, and the music
I'm kind of
when come on,
off of
Mark,
it
you
right now.
know about MTV when MTV first came out and everything
Absolutely.
was music videos. He was an
Yeah,
artist,
it was.
a
Absolutely.
visual artist, and he just took, I think he got obsessive. Like you could take it to extremes. I believe let's not make the next one better than our
Mm-hmm.
last one, but I think it was like an obsessive OCD to where it diminished, that creativity because he was so. And now I'm seeing another music artist. They're a boy band. There's
Mm-hmm.
7 of them called BTS. And let me tell you something. It's like Michael Jackson, and there's 7 of them in that creative artistic visual art way with music, choreography. They're taking it to a whole nother level, which is so creative when I'm seeing this and I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. They're just taking the arts and music and visual, and you got to watch their videos. They have one song, Dynamite, and when you there's several versions of Dynamite, but every time you click on the song,
Mm-hmm.
their scenes constantly change in each, like there could be 4 Dynamite music videos, but every single one of them is different scenes, scenarios, prompts, and all of that. It's like mind blowing. I'm like, how
Wow.
in the hell did you guys manage that? Very
BTS.
creative.
They're called BTS.
BTS.
All right, I'll check this out. Hmm.
They got nominated for a Billboard award. Didn't win, but they've had 12 million views on YouTube. I mean, phenomenal. These guys just like really are so talented and creative, and it's just they didn't know one of them, as much as I do know, and doing my research at the beginning, one of them only spoke English. The others didn't. So they had to gradually learn. And they watched Friends, and that's how they learned English. So that they've gotten better and better. And their story of, you know, what they've been through, being bullied, and all that stuff, and in overcoming and the success
Mm-hmm.
that they have today, it's phenomenal. That to me is like a transformational story like no other. But their creativity and their visual arts and music is just it's mind-boggling fascinating to me.
I'll look them
I
up.
have to give them props because they work hard. And when you see what they do,
Mm-hmm.
it's mind-blowing. It really is.
I'm down. I'll watch them.
There,
BTS.
wait till you see them, Mark. You're gonna be like, holy shit. The
What is?
James Gordon show, late night,
Mm-hmm.
they performed Dynamite. Totally different. It's not the same. And how they did it together on the late night show with James Gordon. Oh my god. I was like, how in the hell did they do that?
All right, I'm
I was
down.
just like, holy shit. Like
I'm
from
sold.
one
I
thing
will
to the
watch
next,
them.
like the same song. And I was like, oh my God, you guys keep changing, same song, just different scenes.
I gotta check this out now. I'm sold. I'm
I,
down.
I, I encourage you. And then text me what you think when you do.
This band is awesome.
And then, oh my God. And then there's Butter. There is a few other songs, but Dynamite was the biggest hit here in America.
Where are they from?
Um, That's a good question. I want to say over parts of Asia and that kind of area. I
Gotcha.
don't know the quite name because I never really pay attention. I know the Asia area,
Right.
but I never paid attention to actually where they're from because I'm so in awe with what they're doing. I don't pay attention to it.
Gotcha. Like, I'm just here for the entertainment. I'm just here to check out the
I get
entertainment.
lost in it because it's so freaking awesome. what they do. It's totally, I get it. How they do that? That's what I'm saying throughout. I'm like, how? What? Hey, what? Huh? Like just and yeah.
You're like, man, if they dressed up like cowboys and did some Marvin Gaye, this would be perfect.
Oh my God, no, they got you just got to watch some other videos because they got a disco, um, Bruno Mars almost kind of thing. They have themes, and if you
Hmm.
pay attention, you'll get it. Like disco themes to another theme to another theme, and it's all. Oh my God, yeah, no words to describe it, honestly, but amazing. That more than amazing.
You used a lot of words to describe it. You were, yeah, man, wow, you're sold on them.
I am. I love the arts and especially with music. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, Mark, it was a pleasure having you on.
Oh,
I
it was
wish you the
awesome.
best of
Thank you so
success
much, huh?
in the movie coming out in filming in January.
Hmm.
When it's done and it's getting ready to be released, I would love to have you back on so we could talk more about it
Absolutely.
and
That'd be awesome.
promote
Thank
it.
you.
Because
Right on.
I know I have friends that love horror movies and that's their thing. And me, I'm into other things besides that. I'll watch Criminal Minds every now and then, and you know, there goes my.
Behind you, yeah.
I know it's my horse. It doesn't stick. I can't nail it. I can't nail anything in the wall. So every now and then it does unstuck itself or something, unstick.
Gotcha.
But I would love to have you back on the show so we can talk more and
I'd love to be
promote,
back on.
maybe
Thank
get a
you.
little trailer
Of
scene
course, absolutely. Yes.
so I
That'd be awesome.
can share with my audience just so they can see it.
Right on. That'd be absolutely, yes.
Well,
That'd
let's
be
keep in
amazing.
touch, Mark. I thank you so much for this day and just being able to have these kind of conversations with you. It's really nice.
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. You're very cool. You're a very cool person.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, I really enjoyed that conversation with Mark, talking about horror, film, the arts, music. You never know who I'm going to have on my show. So you got to stay tuned with Wake Up with KC. Until then, make it a great day.
Do you agree that, it's time that we all wake up and take responsibility, even for our ancestors that did not know any better?
Been waiting patiently to have this kind of conversation.